Seeing how it's February and the official month of all things regarding love, I thought it would only be fitting to discuss a topic today that looms in the minds of single women everywhere. Is it ever alright for a girl to ask a boy out? Boys aren't asking girls out in the first place, so why not? How is it that women are allowed to vote and work in the professional world, but yet why is that line crossed when a girl asks a guy out? I mean, feminists didn't really work hard for equal rights all those years just to have their efforts go unrealized, did they? Is dating on the verge of extinction, and is hanging out the new non-committal alternative? Men are no longer asking women out as often as they used to, and that's just the reality of it. It's a serious trend change in our society, so what's to be done about it? Should the modern woman assume the role of the pursuer? I'd like to argue, no, she shouldn't. If a man won't take the time to get to know you now and treat you with respect, there's no possible way of him doing this later. In my opinion, it's always his responsibility to do the asking, and if he needs a little help, you might need to give him the confidence to do so by being a little more forward and showing interest, but never asking him out yourself. We'll get to that later. First of all, why? Why is this happening? Many argue that video games are the cause. That in the virtual world, there is no risk involved. For example, the A button always equals jump. So, this instills fear in them of the real world, rejection, and unexpected outcomes. Another theory is that feminist movements have caused men to become lazy and let women take control. As seen in Exhibit A, the great majority of the women, 93% in fact, preferred to be asked out, while only 6% preferred to do the asking. The majority of men preferred to do the asking, 83%, while 16% preferred to be asked out on the date. Note that more men preferred to be asked out than there were women who preferred to do the asking. That's a 16% to 6% ratio. So the majority of men still do prefer to ask out on dates, while the majority of women still prefer to be asked out on dates. The outliers are the ones in this equation that are throwing off the formula. Now that we know the issue at hand and the speculated reasons why this is happening, let's talk about how it's affecting both men and women. First of all, men. It makes a man feel like he isn't doing his job, which is providing and protecting. It's just nature. Men are hunters and facts are facts. Men like to go after what they want, and even the most shy of guys wants to be the one to ask a lady out. Although they may still act like a gentleman on the date that they've been invited to, they won't view their date as something of great worth since it came easily to them. Men who went to college in the 70s and 80s mostly embraced the feminist movement. Greater equality, or at least equity, between the genders seemed fair. But a man is still a man and has different responsibilities than a woman does. Therefore, he should take the initiative. Dating expert Evan Mark Katz warned that women could come across as aggressive, desperate, and masculine. Rather, he encouraged women to use their feminine wiles to get men to ask them out. Max also says that he has mixed feelings on this issue, explaining that while a girl asking him out is intriguing and could be construed as awesome or amusing, men can also get a little freaked out and you can look desperate if this is done in the wrong manner. The wrong manner are the key words. Whatever strips a man of his power, such as making decisions on where to eat or what day to go out on, this destroys his confidence. After personally interviewing several men about this issue, I found that the majority still want to feel like they worked for the date. They've gotten the courage to ask you out, save money, plan a fun activity, and you could be anywhere else, but you chose to be with them. That validates men and boosts their self-esteem. Now for women. More women are pursuing careers and use the, quote, "I don't have time for dating" card as a made-up excuse for why they are not getting asked out. Well, what's a girl to do when the opportunity never presents itself? We can't be expected to just sit around and wait for a date our whole lives. Women may not admit to caring if they are asked out, but they certainly do care. This is how they are validated. A man shows he is interested in her, and it's flattering. Being more emotional by nature, women need that. So, what is to be done about it? Well, men need to step up. That's a given. But if we are talking directly to women, there are plenty of things we can do to get the train moving. We can flirt, bat our eyelashes, twirl our hair, or even try out the famous Elle Woods bend and snap. No, but in all seriousness, send a clear signal. Let a potential date know that if he wants to get to know you better, he can plan some fun and extend an invite. Women can do a lot of initiating if a boy is interested, but a little timid. I do agree that there are some times when girls should ask boys out. For example, towards the end of the summer, my friends and I hadn't been on more than one date, which even 10 years ago, that was unheard of, especially with living in the dorms for about 4 months. People would go on dates at least once a week or twice a week back then, so why not now? Something needed to be done, and we came up with an idea. All my girlfriends, we put our names in a jar and randomly partnered everyone up. Then we had a girlfriend set up another girlfriend with a boy of her choosing, so it was a blind date, a date chosen by a third party. Yes, the girls still had to pay for the date and organize it, but at least we had a fun night. The boys were gentlemen, and we actually reintroduced the normality of dating to most of them. And many of those boys went on to ask many more girls out on many more dates, which was a great thing. Dating is how people get to know each other. I've made most of my closest friends by going on group dates. It's also beneficial for one's social skills and etiquette. The lack of practice of proper behavior in social situations has crippled many young people when it comes to communication skills. The art of conversation is a learned skill, and the only way to obtain it is to practice, as we learn in public speaking class. This skill is especially important for a future career. Learn now. Date. Women have been given power where power is due, and that's wonderful. However, there is a difference between political equality among genders and gender equality in personal and social roles. That line is crossed when girls ask guys out. So, have girls been asking boys out on dates? No, they haven't. This is only really an idea that they've explored. That's why we're discussing it today. One might think that after decades of increasing equality between men and women in the political spectrum, that the dating world would start operating the same way, with women doing an equal amount of asking. But the answer is still generally no. So we've waited and we're still waiting. In fact, we are beyond done with waiting. There are plenty of women who would love to go have a night out on the town with a kind, polite, respectful gentleman willing to take the time to get to know her. But this isn't happening. The men who have clued in early increase lowering the risk of not having a date for Valentine's Day, and that's a fact. Until I can find that man, a date of my own, I'm still planning on having a Galentine's Day, a night out with my closest gal pals. Thank you.